We have this news just breaking. A senior Israeli defense official says that for the first time since war broke out 11 days ago, Lebanon's Hezbollah and Iran today carried out the first coordinated attack against Israel. Also this morning, Iran's armed forces issued a warning to civilians across the Middle East, saying you must stay at least half a mile away from banks and economic centers that are run or belong to the United States and Israel. So Citigroup evacuated several buildings in the UAE after that threat became public. Citigroup shares just up a fraction at the moment. Other banks with staff in the Middle East include JP Morgan and Standard Chartered. But joining me now from Israel, former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, here in a Fox Business exclusive. Prime Minister, an Israeli military spokesman just told Reuters that now the Iranians are coordinating directly with Hezbollah. What has the last 24 hours been like? And do you think some of the missiles that have been flying overhead above you have something to do with both of them working together, which I always thought they were because Iran funds Hezbollah?
Yeah. So in Israel, the past 24 hours have been a fairly big barrage of ongoing missiles, both from Lebanon and from Iran. So most Israelis over the past 36 hours have spent a great deal of time in shelters, higher amounts than we were used to. And yeah, we do see close coordination, but it's no big surprise because Iran is the head of the octopus. Hezbollah is the arm of the octopus. Iran funds Hezbollah, arms Hezbollah, trains Hezbollah. So obviously they also tell Hezbollah when to shoot.
Yeah, the vascular system is totally within the same entity, and the blood is all the same, and it's really, really disturbing. Just as President Trump said and told Axios that the war will end very soon, he also said something similar to CBS. Does Israel share that viewpoint?
Well, I don't want to put a stopper on it. I think President Trump correctly said that the war would end when Iran is dismantled its nuclear program and its ballistic missile program. And we are seeing tremendous progress there, and I think that ultimately is the goal.
Well, let's talk a bit about the actual goals that may differ from the United States. President Trump has been incredibly clear and firm. Again, no nukes, stop attacking your own people. But they just continue to attack Israel and all their neighbors now. So what would Israel have to see before the country says, all right, let's bring our fighter jets home again?
Well, we need to know that Iran will not be able to become a huge menace again. We know that President Trump's resolve, his clarity, is highly respected in the Middle East. In the Middle East, people respect leaders that are decisive, that are clear, and that's exactly what President Trump is. Iran, after the war, will be in a very unique position where they will need to decide whether they want to continue down the road of trying to rebuild a nuclear program, etc., and then enter this never-ending hell for them, or they want to rebuild Iran. Also, we all hope, and we're giving a shot that the Iranian people will rise up using this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of such a weakened regime.
Naftali, I have to tell you, you look at Israel. It's called the startup nation. Israel's a miracle, especially considering that they are under attack constantly over the past 47 years from Iran and Iran's proxies. And yet you look at what happened since October 7th, the horror of 2023 when Hamas invaded the country and killed 1,200 mostly civilians. The index of the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange, 35 largest companies, has spiked 130%. Does this war change the impact of the economy in a negative way, or will we see what we have always seen with Israel, and that is real robust growth?
Israel is a nation of tough entrepreneurs, strong people very optimistic people who want to build, who want to grow. We never seek war. And when I look at the younger generation, I look at my own kids, I look at my friends, you're seeing bustling Tel Aviv with so many new startups, so much initiative, while at the same time, we have people out there fighting and fending off Iran. It is a miracle because you'd imagine that a place that is so threatened would be sort of like Afghanistan or a third world country. But we understand that our true spirit is one of growth, one of confidence, one of building. And that's why within this very complex area, we do see massive, massive growth, and it's only going to get better.
Now, creation, not destruction. Really quickly, you have announced that you will run for prime minister against Benjamin Netanyahu. How do you think he has done during this war? What do you think of the calls he has made?
Well, there's no daylight between us on the war in Iran. I've been talking about this for over a decade, that we have to focus on the head of the terror octopus and not only the tentacles. And yeah, it's I'm the front runner right now on in the upcoming elections in September, October, and I hope to be able to replace him, to heal the country, and fix Israel. But as I said, when it has to do with defense and the security of Israel, there's no daylight between us.
There is a sacred bond with all Israelis when under attack. It's good to see you, former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett. Please come back. We want to see what happens with those elections. We appreciate it.
And if I may, I want to thank the American nation for having our back. We're here fighting the same war against radical Islam. And we're proud to do it, and we've never been prouder to be America's ally.
Thank you. I thank you on behalf of our viewers and Americans. We appreciate it.